is Luke Cage racist? Now, some people on the internet, on Twitter specifically, have been freaking out over Marvel's new series, Luke Cage, that's actually been premiered on Netflix last week. Now, in the series, which is headlined by a black superhero who has the powers of unbreakable skin and super strength. So, Luke Cage has a, primarily black cast and takes place in Harlem. So, people are flipping out over this. And in fact, I want to go to a article by Crystal Wright. Now, information on Crystal Wright. She's actually a former liberal, or former Democrat, I should say, who's also black. So she's a black conservative. And she writes how Marvel's Luke Cage is essentially a thug. She writes, superheroes fight forces of evil. They possess fantastical powers. And you know them by name from your childhood days. Wonder Woman, Catwoman, Superman, Spiderman, Batman, and the like. They wore capes and they represented the good citizen, not the criminal. She continues, that is until Netflix decided to collaborate with Marvel and ABC to bring America its first black super thug masquerading as a superhero. Okay, now, let me stop for a second here. Super thug. Well, look, I've only watched the first episode of Luke Cage, right? I like it. I'm going to catch up on the rest of it this weekend. Okay? I'm trying to take it slow because I tend to binge watch. I did that with Daredevil. I did that with Jessica Jones. I'm trying to take this one easy because it takes a long time to create a season. But anyway, those are my reasons, right? Now, I've watched this and nothing pointed out to me as super thug. Maybe I didn't see it. I don't know. No, this guy, the backstory for Luke Cage is he was formerly in jail for a crime he didn't do. So wrongfully imprisoned, experimented on, and then broke out. And then basically tried to stay out of the superhero business, but got sucked in. That's the story. Now, this article by Crystal Wright points it completely different. She says, Mr. Cage fights for social justice in Harlem because, of course, all black people live in Harlem. No. According to a Newsbuster article about the 13-episode series, there's a scene in the first episode where someone passes out a flyer that reads, Stay Harlem, Stay Black. And it also includes a Black Lives Matter moment to further politicize the show. Okay. Here's more misinterpretation from this. Okay. Making Marvel's first black superhero even more into a stereotype, Luke Cage's skin becomes so hardened from doing time in the pen. That's wrong, actually. It's from an experiment where there's mass incarceration of black men that his skin is impenetrable by bullets, which do go through his clothes. Wonder Woman had bulletproof bling. Luke Cage has bulletproof black skin. So this is a metaphor for isolated cases of unarmed young black males killed by police officers. I wonder if hooded crusader Luke Cage will serve and protect blacks in Harlem harmed by other blacks. Actually, so far that's what he's doing. He's going after Cottonmouth, who is, yes, another black person who is a criminal, and Black Mariah. This is crazy. Already. Not missing a beat to perpetuate Democrats' black lies, Carl Lucas, the black super thug's real name, escaped from a privately run prison in Georgia called Seagate. Let's see. And this is because everyone knows that private prisons are to blame for mass incarceration of blacks, not black males themselves who are disproportionately engaging in crime, being convicted by juries and then sentenced by judges. Of course. Look, I want to skip to the end of this because this is just so much bullshit. Netflix delivered a champion of deviancy who will encourage black kids to believe they can pick fights, confront police, and have a hoodie to protect them. How cool is that? Way to add to the black body count, Netflix. Way to go. These people, man. Look, I want to take some calls now. So, all right, we got a caller. Hey, you're on the air. Question, comment?
Yeah, this is Sean. I'm calling about the Luke Cage article that you're doing.
What you got?
Yeah, so I finished the entire series, and I just want to say that literally every paragraph of this article is completely wrong. Like, it's clear that this person has not watched the series.
Okay, so point out some examples. Give me some more sense. I have try to do it without spoilers though, if you can.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I'm literally going to start from the first paragraph. In the first paragraph, when she's naming superheroes, she names Catwoman. Catwoman's actually a criminal. She's a thief. Like, she actually committed the crime that she was accused of, unlike Luke Cage.
Oh, that's a good point.
So there's that. That's an easy one. Secondly, when they're talking about his powers and that he went to a private prison and he got them, Seagate is actually a federal prison, and the wing that he gets his powers in is a privately funded wing. So technically, that's a half truth.
Okay.
Also, they point out the Keep Harlem Black sign as like a moment. The person who's pushing the Keep Harlem Black agenda is not a good person. In fact, she's a very, very distinct allegory for a Democratic politician that's misleading black people. So that's actually a conservative message if you've watched the series, or a conservative talking point.
Okay.
And the other thing is, obviously, like, if you look into Luke Cage's origin, I don't want to get too much into spoilers. He's framed for his crime. But when you finish the series, there's actually a message, and stop me if you've heard conservatives say this before, that part of the bad people or the villains comes from not having a father in their life. When the good guy, Luke Cage, maybe the opposite is true with him, without giving too much away. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot about the black family in this show that she just overlooks because I know for a fact that she did not watch the show. Like,
yeah,
it's not like liberal, democratic, like progressive, like whatever you want to call it. Like, it's not really that. It's a mixture, and he does fight criminals in the black community.
Right. I from what I've seen, it's him trying to protect the black community from other bad actors, and it gets a little nuanced too, because these bad actors at some points were trying to do something good, but in a bad way. You know?
Correct. And he's against that. And also he's a former police officer. He has a very police officer kind of mentality, like a good cop mentality.
Yeah. And so what you're saying is that this is anything but liberal democratic propaganda.
It's mixed. It's a sharp. The political messages are a criticism of problems in the black community, both externally and internally.
Okay.
So it's actually mixed, and like Luke Cage should be considered a conservative hero because part of his character arc is taking responsibility for his actions and like being.
Well, that suggests that liberals don't know how to take responsibility for their actions, and that's like it's a ridiculous conservative talking point saying that liberals don't know how to take responsibility for themselves or their actions, or the black community can't. No, people do. Yeah. It's not a conservative liberal thing.
I'm not saying that they do, but I'm saying from their framing, Luke Cage fits in with their framing as well. And he is in my mind, he's a very positive role model for anybody, but like specifically, if you're going to be narrow, black young men.
Okay. All right, so I got to get to another call. Thanks for calling in, Sean, and sharing your thing. Next caller. So give me a call at Let me see. I forget the number. All right, we got another caller here. Hello, you're on the air. Question, comment, and name.
Yeah, hey, it's Nick calling in. Hey, Jeff.
Hey. So, what you got?
Hey, I wanted to talk about the Luke Cage story that I brought to your attention in the first place.
Okay.
So I love the whole thing. The whole article is just so full of bullshit. It's fun, and pardon my language, but I can't be asked to censor or to tone down the language on this. This is just too funny. Because I first saw this, and I thought, and I still partly think, this is a troll. There's no way this is serious. I mean, there's no way. There have already been movies out this year with black. Because okay, let me preface this first. Because for those who don't know, the title of the article starts with Hollywood's first black superhero is more like a super thug. But there have been movies out this year that have had black superheroes in them. This isn't Hollywood's first black superhero at all. All. Frick, I think Hollywood's
they're going to shit their pants.
Superhero from Marvel was Blade, and that was like 90s.
Yeah, no, they're gonna shit their pants when a Black Panther comes out.
Oh God, yeah, and Black Panther was already in a movie this year. He's already in the goddamn third Captain America movie. He's a superhero there. We've had War Machine in the movies. It's played by Don Cheadle for years, and he's just great. And then we had Falcon too, as also in the Captain America movie. He's an African American and a superhero.
So Nick,
we've also had the Hancock movie with Will Smith, which is not particular franchise movie, but he's just superpowered guy, and he's African American and he's a superhero. You know, it's not your typical sort of superhero movie, but it's the initial premise was hilarious.
But here's the difference, right? So those are side characters, I guess, if you want to call them.
Hancock wasn't. Hancock was his movie.
Well, Hancock wasn't. You're
Blade
right about that.
was his own movie.
You're right about that.
Blade was 3 movies, in fact.
Yeah. But some of those examples, at least in the Marvel universe, yeah, Blade also fits into that, and you're right about that. So what makes Luke Cage different then? Is it because of the hoodie? Is it because of mainly having a black cast? I mean, what do you think this woman is going off about? And keep in mind, we've only got a couple of minutes.
Okay. I think Luke Cage is a comic series that has been around for over 40 years. Luke Cage has been a character for 40-plus years. And his story has always been the same. Rough youth, undergoes experiments for usually either to get out of prison or for some sort of monetary or life-saving benefits, etc., things like that, like his family and stuff. And becomes a superhero and starts fighting crime, specifically in Harlem. That's his base of operations. That's where he lives. That's his community. That's what he cares about the most.
Right.
So that's where he does his thing. That's always been Luke Cage. For 40 years, that has been what he has done, always. The show continues that by, and remains pretty damn true to character, that sense, by putting him in his community, doing what he does, what he's always done. I think that she is touching on trying to draw parallels to the current climate and then assert that the current climate is what led to the Luke Cage, franchise in its inception. But that's not the case. It's always been about dealing with a lot of black-on-black crime within Harlem itself and other non-black-on-black crime too, just crime in Harlem specifically, and looking after that community and trying to make it as a good community for people to live in and grow up in. Right. That's always been what Luke Cage has strived to do. So I think I think it's very clear that she didn't bother to do the most cursory of Google searches. First, an image search for black superheroes. And then a Google search for Luke Cage, and then clicking on like the Wikipedia entry for Luke Cage, because all of that's contained in there. His origins, what he does, his interactions with police are always, law enforcement is good. Try and cooperate with law enforcement and stuff. He's not a rabble rouser or opponent of order and law and structure and tradition and society as we know it. That's not his thing at all. almost the opposite of what he stands for. He tries to stop that kind of behavior, that kind of violence and disruptive chaos in his communities. That's what he does. So I don't think she did her homework at all. Or
Okay.
she put out this ridiculous article that is serious, should never have really been published as any article at all. Or she was completely trolling and was just trying to get a rise. Either way, it annoyed me because I can excuse a lot of mistakes in trolling for the sake of trolling, but when it's trolling that just makes it look like completely bad research, that irks me.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.